Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Alright, so here we have Roserade. Now the reason I'm doing Roserade or Roserade or whatever the heck its name is because we have Roselia Community Day coming. Sadly, that means that not only is Shiny coming back, but like it's also we're gonna get a Roselia Community Day, and you get to evolve it to get 2 Community Day moves. So it's gonna get Weather Ball Fire, and it's also going to get Bullet Seed, which is kind of ironic, because that basically just makes it like a churro. Bullet Seed and Weather Ball Fire. So I'm not sure who came up with it. I don't think it was, like, this is so left field by Niantic that everyone was in a rage when it came out. I personally don't mind it. You can get a XL50 can. You can get, like, XL candy for Roselia for this event, and you can get a lot to power up a Roserade and then just shred through Rocket Stops, or Rocket Leaders. So... yeah, Rocket Stops and Rocket Leaders. So you could just use this to shred through them with Razor Leaf. So the thing about Roserade is that it's a pretty much a glass cannon from hell. It's a grass and poison type. It has extremely high attack and defense. I mean, not high attack and defense, just pretty much high attack. Its defense is the second highest stat, but in a sense, if you look at these stats, it's pretty much a glass cannon. So does a high amount of damage, but also very squishy. So whether or not Bullet Seed or Weather Ball is going to give it some poof or like allow it to be like meta relevant in Pokemon Go, we're about to find out. As you see, the thing about Roserade is that it's kind of weak to a lot of things. It's weak to Fire, Flying, Ice, and Psychic. And it resists Grass, Electric, Fairy, Fighting, and Water. So the weaknesses are what kind of makes it really iffy. You're weak to Alola Marowak. This is just assuming Great League, by the way. So we're only going to look at Roserade for Great League as of right now. And then I'll be doing a deeper analysis later on. But this is just a preview of Roserade with these Weather Ball. Because I can plug it in the Matrix anyways. And we could just take a look at it really quick. But this is just a preview. So once the hard data comes out, then I can figure things out. Because I can figure out more stuff, etc. But as you see, it's weak to Fire, Flying, Ice, and Psychic. All Mellow relevant typings in Go Battle League. So because of that, it's a little difficult to see if Roserade is actually going to be really good. Now, as you see, it double resists Grass because of the Grass and Poison typing. It resists Electric, Fairy, Fighting, and Water. So it does resist the counter users. It also resists Charmers, and it also resists Shadow Razor Leafers. So in a sense, it can be good, because it has a lot of relevant resistances, but there's also a lot of weaknesses, like I mentioned. And we're here to analyze whether the Bullet Seed or Weather Ball one will actually be good in Great League. So we're going to primarily look at Great League for this analysis. Alright, here's the PPoke.com rankings. As you see, Roserade, like, it's not that great. As you see, it's subpar because of its moveset, its current moveset, but as you see here, this is how it normally ranks. A 550, 532. As you see here, it loses to a slew of things. Ironically, the old version will lose to Azu because Azu can outpace you. You also lose to thick things like Umbreon, Galvantula because of Lunge, Swampert, and Meganium. It is literally super weak. So we're about to find out and see if this is a really great upgrade from the original version. So as you see here, it's a really weak Mon overall for the entire meta. And it pretty much gets destroyed by a bunch of things that you think it would probably have a chance against. Unfortunately, its stats are just that bad. Best used in the closer regularly, and that's just how it is right now. So it's gonna be really interesting to see just how Roserade can actually like once I input the data, it's gonna be interesting to see, like, is it really that good? Is this a wasteful community day? Or did Niantic kind of just like left field us and give us something really good? We're about to find out. Alright, as I always say, please consider donating to PPoke.com. Alright, so here we have Roserade. As you see, it's for Great League. I gave it Bullet Seed, I gave it Weather Ball Fire, and Grass Knot. I'm gonna assume Grass Knot's going to be its coverage move, because one, you get stabbed, and two, you get Grass Knot pretty quickly. So we're just gonna assume this. We have, I'll get fancier later. As of now, I'm going to assume this is the moveset, but we're just gonna figure that out. And then here's the original Roserade, which is Poison Jab, Grass Knot, Sludge Bomb. So we're gonna see if it's a decent upgrade. As you saw before in The Sims, you lose against a lot of things you should technically beat because of your grass typing. However, we're going to take a look at what happens. As you see here, I have the Great League meta to the right. We got the 2 shield. We're going to battle. And as you see here, so it looks like... Wow, this is actually really interesting. So you beat Abomasnow, you lose against Altaria, of course. You're still going to lose against Altaria and Bastion just because of their tanky and oppressive, and because Roserade isn't tanky. You beat Azumarill with both variations, just because whether or not you have Poison Jab or Bullet Seed, you do get stabbed against Azumarill. And it looks like... So with Poison Jab, you can beat Clefable, but with Weather Ball, you beat Deoxys defense. Now, exactly how does that affect? Yeety is a very... Oh, wow, that's a lot of work. So you have to basically... You have to land 3 Weather Balls and a Grass Knot. If you look at these stats, that's a very That's really interesting. Well, I'm guessing the reason why you can even get here is because Roserade resists counter, so that's why. So you can take out a DD as long as you can land a Grass Knot and a Weather Ball and break both shields in the 2s. With Weather Ball, you're going to take out Ferrothorn, just because it's double weak to fire. As you see, you lose against a slew of things. Dugong, Diggersby, Driftblim, Frostless. You beat Galvantula and Haunter. I'm not sure if you could just go straight... I'm pretty sure you just go straight Weather Ball against Haunter. Yeah, you just go straight Weather Ball. So you could beat a Haunter straight Weather Ball, but you barely live with 4 HP. So that's a close matchup. You get Erased by Hypnose. You could beat Jellicent. So the Bullet Seed version... The Bullet Seed... But is this bait dependent? Or... So let's see. You double Weather Ball. Oh, this is assuming it has Ice Beam. What if you don't have Ice Beam? So if you don't have Ice Beam, you can rip pretty comfortably. I don't think you could go straight Grass Knot, though. Okay, so... Well, you can. So, like, if it doesn't have Ice Beam, you could go straight... If it doesn't have Ice Beam, you could go straight Weather Ball against the Jellicent. Or straight Grass Knot. So, you beat Jellicent. That's pretty good. You lose against Lapras, ironically, well, it's because of the Ice Shards and because of your tankiness, or lack of tankiness. Mandibus beats you, Mantine, basically anything flying, fire also seems to really give you a problem. You flip Metachan, Melmetal, and Mew. That's pretty interesting. So you can beat Metachan, Melmetal, and Mew, so with the new moveset. So that's pretty relevant meta. I don't think you could go straight Grass Knot. Yeah, so you have to double bait. So this is a bait dependent matchup. You have to double bait, and then you have to land a Grass Knot. Otherwise, you lose. You beat Meganium. I think you beat Meganium just straight Weather Ball. You just Weather Ball it to death, which is good. Somehow it's... Well, you do double resist Frenzy Plant, so it makes sense. So you beat Meganium out. You also beat Melmetal, and you beat Mew. Now, I'm not sure about Mew. Can you straight Weather Ball Mew? That's a big question. No, you have to land Grass Knot, because if you don't land Grass Knot, if you can't double bait and land Grass Knot, you die. Yep. So Mew's a bait-dependent matchup. You beat Alolan Raichu. You beat Registeel. You beat Sableye. This is a very interesting matchup. So you beat it, like, looking at it from a halfway perspective, yes, you do beat a lot of things, but it's bait dependent. So a lot of these matchups in the 2s are just really bait dependent. You beat Stunfisk because you wall. You're gonna lose against G-Fisk, ironically, because you died at, like, it's so... Yeah, it could just go straight Rock Slide. That's how weak Roserade is in the bulk department. You beat Swampert, you beat Toxicroak because you do resist its moves, with the exception of Sludge Bomb, I guess. You beat Tropius. You lose against Air/Tropius really hard, mind you. You can beat Venusaur, you beat Shadow Victory Bell, you beat Vigoroth, you beat Wishcash. So you flip a ton of things. But ironically, you lose against Wigglytuff. You can beat Yeah, you lose against Wigglytuff. So you actually lose against the Charmers because they can double shield you if they have 2 shields. Despite the fact that you're Poison type. You also lose against Wireless because it's a dragon. So you flip a lot of relevant meta matchups in the 2 shield, but like a lot of matchups you win are very bait dependent. So not really great in the 2 shield. Alright, so we did the 2 shield and we had the 1 shield. You flip meta relevant matchups, but a lot of them are actually bait dependent, so it's weird. So in the 1 shield, you can actually beat Altaria in the 1s with a Sludge Bomb. When the 1s, you could beat Abomasnow. You beat Azu at this point. I think you could take out Azu with... Yeah, you take it out with Grass Knot. Can you just go straight Grass Knot? Yes, so you can go straight now. You beat Azu convincingly in the 1 shield. So this is actually pretty good. The speed of Bullet Seed allows you to get to Grass Knot pretty quickly. As you see, it takes, let's see, 4 Bullet Seeds to get to a Grass Knot. So That's pretty huge considering how much damage you do. So you flip Azu, you beat Chestnut. You also beat Clefable. So you'll beat Clefable. It looks like you could beat Charmer. No, you only beat Clefable in the one shield. But you'll lose against Wigglytuff still. So you beat Ferrothorn, Digger. You could beat Diggersby at this point now. I guess I think you have to like bait though. So you have to bait and then you Grass Knot. So let's see if we get straight Grass Knot. You can't. So with Diggersby, it's a bait dependent matchup. You beat Ferrothorn. You beat Frost. I think Frostless, you just go straight Weather Ball, I believe. No, you have to Grass Knot. Is this a bait dependent matchup too? Wow, okay, so it is a bait dependent matchup. To beat Frostless, you must bait. With Haunter, I'm guessing you just straight Weather Ball it to death because of its energy. Yes, you straight Weather Ball, so that's good. That's a convincing match at least. You beat Jellicent, you also beat Lapras. With Lapras, is it a bait dependent matchup? The reason I'm looking for bait dependent matchups is because if you have to bait, that matters. Okay, so you don't have to bait, that's cool. Baiting, like having like a break, I'm like with Jellicent, you should be able to double. You should be able to just double Grass Knot. So you don't have to Weather Ball. You could just straight Grass Knot. Yeah, so you could straight Grass Knot as well. Strong ratings usually you could just go straight Grass Knot, but it just really depends. So you lose against a slew of things in a one shield. You lose a lot. You lose against Meganium. You're gonna lose the Shadow Champ, Mantine, basically any of the flyers. You lose against Mew now. You still beat Melmetal, but you lose against Mew. You lose against Munchlax. You lose against Obstagoon. Registeel, so you lose against Registeel in the one shield now. You beat Sableye still. You beat Alolan Raichu. Scrafty. Well, it makes sense you beat Achu because it's an electric type. You're also able to beat Galarian Stunfisk now. So in the two shields, you lose against G-Fisk. In the one shield, you could beat it just straight Weather Ball. So that's a pretty good relevant matchup. You could just win straight Weather Ball in the one shield. Now against Swampert, you beat Swampert as well, which is good. So a lot of things do have stronger ratings in the one shield than the two shield, but there are still bait dependent matchups. So you beat Tropius, Umbreon, you lose against it if it's an Air Slash version. You lose against Vigoroth, you'll still lose against Wigglytuff. So you lose in the twos, you'll also lose the ones, and you're gonna lose to Zacian because it's a dragon. Alright, we did the two, the ones, now here's the zeros. Let's see. In the closers, Roserade's best position, according to the rankings. As you see here, you're able to beat Abomasnow, Chestnut, Clefable, Cresselia, Dugong, Ferrothorn, Haunter, Jellicent. You can also beat Shadow Champ, which is pretty big. I think you could I think you can Grass Knot to death. Yeah, you could just Grass Knot to death because you will live the Cross Chop. You can't live another Cross Chop though. As you see here, whew, Roserade is not the thickest thing on since sliced bread. You beat Melmetal, Obstagoon, Raichu. So some matchups you flip, mainly Obstagoon. You're going to lose against Scrafty, Shiftry. You lose Stunfisk in the zeros and the twos. You only beat in the ones. You still beat Swampert though, which is a good thing. However, you'll lose against both versions of Tropius. You beat Venusaur, Shadow Victory Bell, Vigoroth, Wishcash, and Wigglytuff. So you can only beat Wigglytuff in the zeros or if you have shield advantage, I think. Even though just because it can just literally charm you down. Yeah, you can only beat it in the zeros or in the 1 to zeros as long as it has 0 shields. Because as you see, one charm doesn't matter. One charm still has 9 damage, so 10 charms can take you out. Which is nuts. So in the 1 to zeros, let's see what happens in the 1 to zeros. You still flip a lot of meta-relevant matchups, which is really great. In the 1 to zeros, you still lose against Altaria. You'll lose against Bastiodon, Drifblim, Hypno, Mandibuzz, Alolan Marowak, and Zweilous. You beat a majority of the meta, but you still lose against a lot of relevant things, and Confusion users suck. So as you see here, Hypno and Shadow Hypno are going to absolutely just destroy you. In the 2 to zeros, you still lose against Shadow Hypno, and Bastiodon, and Altaria, and Tropius. So you practically lose against almost every flyer. No, you literally lose against every flyer. You lose against Mandibuzz, everything, even in the 2 to zeros, which is just nuts. Other than that, you beat the rest of the meta. Now, if you have shield advantage, which is the 2 to 1s, what happens? So you drop a lot of matchups. Again, you're going to lose against a lot of flyers. You lose against Obstagoon 2, Alolan Marowak, Mandibuzz, Hypno, Bastiodon, and Altaria, and Zweilous. So you even in the 2 to 1s, there's a lot of things that do beat you, and you can still get charmed down with Wigglytuff as long as you have shields. So, I mean, as long as it has shields. You still beat a slew you still beat a lot of meta things, but it's very, like as you see you're losing, you still lose a ton of matchups, which are pretty popular. Altaria, Bastiodon, Hypno, Alolan Marowak's pretty popular as well. So you lose against some popular picks, but you beat the rest, which is good. But as we've noted here, there's a lot of bait-dependent matchups, and even in the 2-to-1s, like, you still lose against you'll still lose against Wigglytuff, and just because of how, like, glassy that Roserade is. It's really good that you beat a lot of slew of things, like in the with Shield Advantage, as you see here, you're able to beat Shadow Victory Bell and a lot of other meta-relevant mons, but Roserade's bulk really keeps it from being really, really good. Alright, 6 out of 10. Wait, what? That was a really quick? Yeah, the thing about it is Roserade does get an upgrade in Great League, however, it's not that great. In Great League, or in general in Go Battle League, bulk is king. And if you got a glass cannon like this thing that can't live up to its name for a while, it's going to lose a lot of battles. It might have use in Ultra and Ultra Premier, however, if you look for the Great League, here's what happens. As you see here, 31%. If you use its regular moveset, if you have the Weather Ball and Grass Knot, it is an upgrade. The good thing is, as you see here, it is an upgrade. It does give you a lot more matchups. As we saw during the simulators, you can still even take some matches if you're able to bait with Weather Ball, which is always good. It's always good to flip things. The problem is that because Roserade is so bulky, Bullet Seed is a 3-turn, Glassy and Bullet Seed is a 3-turn move, there's not a lot of things you can do. Unfortunately, it's very risky to run Roserade, because it can get outpaced a lot. It still loses to Wigglytuff it still loses to Charmers. Just because, even though you do resist poison, it's so glassy that they can just 2-shield through everything you have. A big one is probably Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff will beat you, and even will beat you with a shield. You have to basically be in a 0 speed Wigglytuff. That just shows you how glassy Roserade is. Roserade can also lose to fighters depending on what scenario it is, just because they can literally just run it over because it doesn't have a lot of bulk. So unfortunately, Roserade is not great of an upgrade. For Great League anyways, just for Great League specifically, it probably isn't going to do much for you. You probably see, now the thing is, what's probably going to see knowing is that this thing might actually see some play in Razor Leaf teams. So you might see, like, I hate to say it, but it probably is just because of the grass poison typing. So it might have some play in Razor Leaf teams. It might. I'm not sure, but is it an upgrade? Yes. Is it something you're going to run regularly? Probably not. The Bullet Seed, Weather Ball, because even if you don't get stabbed, it's kind of, yeah. But you still flip meta relevant. Like, being able to beat G-Fisk in a 1-shield is pretty huge. Being able to Weather Ball a lot of some things down is good. But it's just a bulk that really keeps Roserade from being something, like, special in Great League. Again, once it actually comes out, the data, and then once the data actually comes out, like, I'll actually give, like, I'll give a more in-depth analysis on it to see comparisons. But from first look, unfortunately, Roserade does not pass the tests. This is a community day where unless you want, it's nice to have, but until, like, you can bulk Roserade stats, unfortunately, it's not going to be a force to be reckoned with anytime soon. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I'll see you guys on the next video.